All right, it's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers. And I have with me in the studio lawyer and social development advocate Jide Ologun, as well as lawyer, public affairs analyst Tunji Abdulhammed. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you.
All right, we begin with the Vanguard newspaper. A drug deal, how Mawa IGP met, agreed on Kyari's arrest. Fear grips police suspects inside NDLEA cell as Kyari rejects food. Kyari's action, height of indiscipline, retired CP. Fish out ex-IGPs, senior police officers, politicians behind Kyari's excesses. Retired AIG charges police NDLEA. NDLEA grills DCP Kyari for others to end investigation today. State IRT units shut nationwide. To the Nigerian Tribune, Kyari Gate, police and the NDLEA may clash over inducted officials. Agency won't probe allegations. It's red herring, says NDLEA. Investigators grill Kyari, others. IGP's IRT SRS satellite units not disbanded investigations. You find the details on the pages of the Nigerian Tribune. To the Punch newspaper, still talking about Kyari. Kyari's brother received 279 million naira from hush-puppy orders, police report. The Nigerian police force probes Kyari for 33 cases of money laundering. Police recommend demotion of 4 embattled top cop. And to the front page of the Blueprint, at 700 naira per litre, Nigerians groan under biting fuel scarcity. Black marketers in brisk business. Abuja, Lagos was hit. Commercial drivers brag, taunt commuters. You find the details on the pages of the Blueprint. To the Daily Trust now, motorists groan as petrol sells at 600 naira per litre in Abuja. Price doubled in Kano, Lagos, Port Harcourt. Passengers stranded. Transport fare rise by 150%. Scarcity may affect inflation. NBS, 1 billion litres in stock, 2.3 billion on the way. NNPC speaking there. And to the Daily Sun, fuel landing cost rises to 307 naira as Buhari seeks fresh 2.5 trillion naira subsidy. President sends supplementary budget to National Assembly. Motorist commuters stranded in Abuja as scarcity bites harder. To the Leadership newspaper now, fuel scarcity bites harder amid NNPC's assurance of 1 billion litres. To the Guardian newspaper, harder times loom as fuel crisis lingers. Inflation decelerates slightly to 15.6%. Data is mockery of market reality. Food crisis not reflecting government investment in agri, says Farmers Association. NNPC imports 2.3 billion litres as queues persists nationwide. To the national economy now, the cost of transportation goods rise as fuel scarcity lingers. A situation could create artificial shock in economy, statistician general. To the News Direct now, federal government proposes 2.5 trillion naira supplementary budget for fuel subsidy. And to the Daily Times now, Buhari requests additional 2.557 trillion naira for fuel subsidy. And to the Nation newspaper, Buhari governors meeting on APC convention fails to hold. You find the details on the pages of the Nation newspaper. To this Nigeria, rumble in Osun APC, Godson versus Godfather. Aregbesola Tinubu trying to play God. Oyetola to ex-governor, you can't determine my fate on re-election. To the Business Day, for first time, investors dump Nigeria Eurobonds despite all rally, pick South Africa over Nigeria. All right, that's all on the front page of the dailies this morning. But then, gentlemen, let's look at the current situation that has hit a majority or all Nigerians with regards to the fuel scarcity. And the president has requested additional 2.557 trillion naira for fuel subsidy to perhaps cushion the effect of what is going on, and that the removal of the subsidy, its attendant effect. And I'm wondering what you make of this decision by the president. Let me begin with you.
Obviously, the president has no choice than to take that step, because it appears that the subsidy cannot be removed now. But I just expect and imagine that the National Assembly will move to the next level of wisdom in managing resources and engage the president on what can we do to solve these problems, not in a palliative manner, but in a fundamental manner. Imagine that we have resolved the crisis in our refining sector in the country. We'll not be talking about fuel scarcity or importing adulterated fuel into the country right now. So if you like, apply for 8 trillion naira for subsidy. We are going around the circle, and I think it's quite disturbing. And that, of course, pinpoints why we have not been able to rescue this economy that has slumped into recession twice. You know, in recent years, because it's amazing. And again, we have institutional crisis. We are not even talking about who are those behind importing this fuel, or is it a story by the government just to probably make room for escalating the price of these products? There are deeper issues we should be attending to that we are not attending to. I mean, and who is accountable for the excesses in that sector of our national life, spending 100 billion naira to turn around moribund refineries, you know, $26.5 billion, all the huge amounts we
should be holding certain persons to account.
Exactly. But all you find is bulk passing. Is this company? No, it's not also. But we have an NNPC that has been unbundled, and NNPC came into operation 1st of April 1977. It's come a long way to deliver to this nation the wealth of this nation that is entrusted to that department. And again, this is a test of leadership, because substantively, my president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces is the minister of petroleum and resources. So we need to enjoy the wealth of this nation. It's quite embarrassing. You can imagine the impact on the economy, on production, and for an economy that is already depressed. We need long-term and brilliant approach.
Tunji, let's get your perspective to this matter, stemming from what he has said, that the president is a right move in the right direction, so to speak, to cushion the effect of what has happened in the past few weeks. I wonder if you see this actually cushioning the effect, because we have seen, you know, so many people doing brisk business with this situation, and Ip Man is even saying that this might even linger up to 2 weeks more before it settles, that before this whole matter settles. But I wonder what your perspective is with regards to this.
The circumstance we find ourselves now is sad and unfortunate. But I don't want to agree that that step is to cushion the effect of what is happening now, or what has happened in the last 1 or 2 weeks. I don't believe that. It may probably is part of the plan to say, okay, let this happen so that we're able to
determine
and do that.
Yeah.
No, not determine. In other words, because why I say I will not agree that it's an effort to cushion what is happening in the last 2 weeks. It may be for purpose of the new position of changing the day when the new law will become effective to another date. That I agree with that. But cushioning the effect of what has happened in the last 1 week or 2 weeks, that cannot be, because that cannot be an immediate solution. Because before the bill is being passed or before it's even approved, the circumstance, that means we are talking about a month or 2 weeks or 3. Will continue to be in this circumstance. That cannot be. You know, when you fail to plan, this is what you find yourself. You fail to plan, you plan to fail. We have not planned all this while, and we have not bothered about finding solution to our situation. And it's unfortunate that Mr. President, who everybody believes is a messiah that will be able to turn around the situation of the country, is also going in the same way, not worse than the way the other people they condemn were going through. Because the president, when he was campaigning in 2014, we were promised that 1 refinery per year will be built. I'm not sure there is even a plan to build half refinery, talk less of 1. To even maintain the one on ground, there is no plan to that effect. What we are seeing is that they continue the subsidy in the name of
maintenance. He mentioned about the amounts that have been injected into turnaround maintenance of refineries.
They are not maintaining. They are just pumping money. They are just using money to say no. There is not maintenance. I'm talking about maintaining, not putting money into it. Maintaining it. There's even between releasing money for the purpose of a job and doing the job being done. That's what I'm talking about now. We were told there's a maintenance money being pumped out for a refinery that's not bringing out 1 naira, and we are spending trillions of naira or billions of naira. So it's an evidence that the president was not even prepared for this job. That's me. Because when you say you want to do refinery one per year, and this is the 6th or 7th year, not even half has been done. So it is sad as far as I'm concerned. And the more as long as we continue to import, we will continue to find ourselves in this circumstance. Unfortunately, again, when this government came into power, they denied the fact that there was subsidy. And that was our first problem. Because when you don't take responsibility, when you don't agree that you have a problem, you have more problems. Because they did not agree that there was need for subsidy, and they were saying they were doing under recovery in the name of because when you are supposed to say, you said you condemn that there's no subsidy, so there's no way you come out and say I want to also pay subsidy. They were talking about under recovery. Now it has come to open. They cannot hide again, and there's need for them to say, look, we've agreed there's subsidy, I want to pay on it. So as long as we continue to hide and not do the right thing at the right time, we will continue to find ourselves in this situation. And it's unfortunate we have been dropped back again, thinking that within these 4 or 5 years, things will have changed in terms of our refinery. And nothing has changed. It has even gone worse, as far as I'm concerned.
We've been looking at the issues surrounding the fuel scarcity, the president coming out to request certain amounts to be injected into the budget to address the challenges with regards to fuel subsidy, and saying that at this point, as it is, looking at the situation on the ground, it is necessary that there be some fuel subsidy injected into the budget, and our guests have been reacting to that. Now, let me come to you now, Jide, with regards to this matter of fuel subsidy removal or non-removal. Are we ever going to make headway with that, with what we are seeing on the ground?
You see, subsidy is a global concept. It's either tied to production or consumption. And this time around, ours is tied to consumption. And the simple explanation is that, okay, we import fuel at a higher rate than the pump price that the consumers pay. So the difference must be handled by the government. That is the subsidy we are talking about.
Right.
But how do you position that within the concept of economic wisdom? When you have crude oil in abundance and you have refineries, the first refinery in Nigeria became operational in 1965, constructed by Shell BP. We have 4 that have been run down. So imagine that you don't bear the cost of exporting your crude oil for refining, providing job opportunities, strengthening the economies of those who are wise enough to have functional refineries. Then you now import back to your country. And if the importation is subject to accountability, it's a different ballgame. Right now, the National Assembly is planning to query the quantity of PMS that we consume in the country. So you find a lot of corruption elements around the value chain. And that is why we are where we are. Why can't we have functional refineries? Go and study Saudi Arabia. Aramco is bringing that nation serious wealth. You see, the USA has at least 135 functional refineries. We discovered oil in 1965. UAE discovered oil in 1958. All right? Between 1950s and 1958. Now, UAE has translated from a desert to a paradise. And we are moving from a paradise to a desert. So our assets are becoming liabilities in our hands. And that's why some of us are more concerned about fundamental issues than subsidy. If you don't deal with the fundamental issues, you cannot resolve this. We are just dealing with symptoms. Why are we here? Because we have not developed capacity. Go and learn from India. India has the biggest refining capacity in the world. And these things can be learned on the phone. We have ministers, we have directors, we have permanent secretaries, we have MDs, we have unbundled. NNPC, like I said, was established 1st of April 1977. So are we not expected to be growing? You see, so these are complex issues because we have allowed it to be complex. It's not rocket science. So I think it is deliberate. But then, like we keep saying, it is better to be on the side of wisdom than to be on the side of the other side of wisdom. And I think in managing the huge resources of this country, we have not demonstrated wisdom. And that is why we are asking right now that the National Assembly, that appear to be the biggest representative body, 109 senators, 360 House of Reps members, should please represent us well. We've been talking and talking. Or is it that they don't know what is happening around the world? These things are expected to bring wealth to the people.
All right. Let's come to you, Tunji, with regards to reacting to what Jide has said with regards to this fuel subsidy or no fuel subsidy, and he spoke about the underlying issues. One of the other issues that a lot of persons championed was the Petroleum Industry Act, which has now been suspended, that will bring some level of sanity to the petroleum industry, to the sector in the country, but that has been suspended, and we are where we are. Would we ever get it right? And if we are to get it right, what is that deliberate move that we have to take, step that we have to take to get to where we are going?
If it's about a subsidy, there is nothing we can do than to have a functional refinery. That is the only way out. When you have a functional refinery, you'll be able to reduce costs.
Why is it so difficult for
you will be able to
perhaps our leaders to understand that we need our refineries function?
Because it's not their priority, and because we are not putting leaders who can do it for us inside in it. We are not voting for leaders who has the capacity. We are voting for
so
leaders based on
Nigerians
sentiments.
are at fault.
We are part of the majorly we are, because when we want to conduct elections and want to vote those who direct our affairs, we don't look at whether he has capacity or not. We look at a sentiment like his name is good luck. His name is he doesn't have shoe. He has no account somewhere or something like he has integrity, or he has integrity without looking at the capacity and other things like that. Those are the things we look for. So as long as we continue to look for irrelevant things in determining
what is that relevant thing, perhaps Nigerians
the relevant thing is capacity, quality of the person who is coming in. What has he done? What is his antecedent? Look at him and examine him and see what has he contributed to the when it comes to debate. Some cannot do what we are doing now today, and they will be in position of authority, like leading us. In other words, you cannot call somebody to come and just call immediately urgently and say, please give us your opinion on this. He will not be able to answer you, and he's in leadership position. How do you expect that person to lead you? So until we get our election process right, when I say right now, in terms of voting for people or electing people who have the capacity and who can lead us without sentiment, whether Sony, forget that all those things. I don't even believe in that. Sony or religion or whatever, let's leave it. The solution to our first problem is the functional refinery. And I am one of those who don't believe that PIA or PI, whatever they call it, will change anything. It will not change anything. It's just a mere paperwork. The bundling the Ologun talked about is just unbundled on paper, not in practice. The NNPC still remain the way they are, the way they were before the PIA. Because before the PIA, the president appoints the board of NNPC. Today, the president is also the one appointing the directors and whatever of the NNPC. So what are we talking about? Nothing has changed as far as I'm concerned. So I don't believe that our problem is even law. Law is not our problem. Until we do the right thing and take the right step in the right direction, that's when we can get our solution right. And then the solution here is to have a functional refinery.
All right, we'll leave the conversation here, gentlemen. Thank you so much, lawyer and social development advocate Jide Ologun, as well as lawyer and public affairs analyst Tunji Abdulhammed, for your time on the program. Thank you.
God bless Nigeria.
Amen.